Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. How was everybody's weekend? You have a good one? Mine was great. Mine was great. I was down in South Carolina, really relaxing. No internet. They don't have it there yet. But I heard that there was an article about CBS chairman, and man, I hope isn't watching tonight's monologue, Les Moonves. Where was the article?
The New Yorker.
Oh, it's quality publication. Was it one of those cartoons? Was it Talk of the Town? Was it a shout or a murmur? I'll tell you what, this will settle. Who wrote it?
The New Yorker article by Ronan Farrow.
That's not good. Ronan isn't exactly known for his puff pieces about glamping. Okay, well, I guess we're talking about this, so, Jim?
6 women who had professional dealings with him, Les Moonves, told me that between the 1980s and the late aughts, Moonves sexually harassed them, described forcible touching or kissing during business meetings in what they said appeared to be a practice routine.
Well, you know the old saying, how do you get in a Ronan Farrow article? Practice, practice, practice. Is this just this afternoon? This just happened moments ago. The CBS board met today and announced they're in the process of hiring outside investigators. I don't know why they're outsourcing this. They could just use the cast of the new CBS procedural, CSI CEO. Now, I'll have some more to say on this over there at the desk later, assuming we make it past the commercial break. There's also, by the way, allegations against somebody I don't work for, because last week we learned that Kimberly Guilfoyle allegedly left Fox News amid accusations of sexual misconduct. So that's where we're at. Yeah. The best news of the day is that women can also be guilty of sexual harassment. What a trailblazer. You go, girl. You go. Seriously, 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 you should go. According to multiple sources at Fox News, Guilfoyle's behavior included showing personal photographs of male genitalia to colleagues and identifying whose genitals they were, which is horrible workplace behavior. And also, the least popular edition of the board game, Guess Who? And, have you played that?
I never played that one. No, I haven't played that one. Nah, I don't mess with that one.
No?
That's another version.
Yeah. And this story becomes way more interesting when you know that Guilfoyle is currently dating presidential son and man reacting to his girlfriend's photo collage, Donald Trump Jr., which means, and brace yourselves for this, there's a good chance Guilfoyle was forcing people to look at Don's Jr. I hear the carpet is as gelled as the drapes. Just straight back. But the huge news last week was that Michael Cohen claimed that Trump not only knew in advance about the infamous 2016 Trump Tower meeting, but that he also approved going ahead with the meeting. What a shocker. It's like the ending of The Sixth Sense, where Bruce Willis finally notices Haley Joel Osment's I'm with dead guy shirts. Because this was so obvious. It's on the cover of this week's It's Exactly What You Thought magazine. But even if this is obvious, this is still a big deal. This is the whole ball of wax, because that is knowingly receiving help from a hostile foreign power to influence our election. Of course, you were a little late on that, but thank you very much. Of course, information of any kind makes Trump mad. So this weekend, his thumbs took his anger out on Twitter because he cranked out 35 tweets. Yeah, he's so prolific. He's the Stephen King of the horror story we live in. Now, there's a lot of different subjects. A lot of different subjects. A lot of different subjects, but a lot of it was chaff like this. Wow, highest poll numbers in the history of the Republican Party. That includes Honest Abe Lincoln and Ronald Reagan. There must be something wrong. Please recheck that poll. Okay, we did. And it turns out presidential polling didn't start until 1935. So, of course, Lincoln did badly. Who wants to vote for a guy who's been dead for 70 years? Me, if he's running against Trump in the next election. Get Abe 2020, make America great again. Now, tweets weren't the only way Trump fought back. He also unleashed Trump attorney and man watching them open the Ark of the Covenant, Rudy Giuliani. So it's Giuliani versus Cohen. And as Allison Camerata pointed out on today's CNN's New Day Today, this feud's a recent development.
You had said not 2 months ago that Michael Cohen was an honest and honorable man. Now you're saying he's a pathological liar for life. Which one is it?
Well, that's about as unfair a thing as you can say. How did I know that he was a lawyer taping his client? You tell me a lawyer is taping his client, I got to say, sorry, I made a mistake. The guy is unethical. He's a scumbag. He's a horrible person. I've never heard of a lawyer taping his client without the client's consent.
What does that say about the president's judgment?
Said he turned out to have a close friend betray him, like Iago betrayed Otello, and Brutus put the last knife into Caesar.
That's a pretty lofty comparison. This isn't exactly Shakespearean betrayal. This isn't even that episode of Jersey Shore where Snooki and JWoww wrote the note to Sammy telling her that Ron cheated that night after they had to fight at Clutch, is what it says here. Then they went on to cover the president's weekend rage tweets.
Is Robert Mueller ever going to release his conflicts of interest with respect to President Trump, including the fact that we had a very nasty and contentious business relationship? What's he referring to? What is it?
That's up to the president and Mueller to describe. It's not part of my legal representation.
Wait a minute. This doesn't make sense. How can the president make this claim and not support it?
He doesn't have to.
Why is it up to Robert Mueller to have to support the president's tweet?
Because he has the conflict, not the president.
Yes. If someone starts a rumor about you, it's your responsibility to address that rumor. Like, if I say Rudy Giuliani has sex with underage goats, it's up to him to prove me wrong. Release the tapes of you not having sex with goats, Rudy. Release the tapes. Release the tapes. Release the tapes. Release the tapes. Thank you. That's good. That's good. We've made our point. Now, at a certain point, Giuliani had had enough of these questions about things he said. And he saw his chance to exit.
Hold that thought, Mr. Mayor.
No, I'm going to leave after this one.
We've scared you away?
Oh, yeah, you scared me away. I look really scared. No, it's starting to get useless.
No.
This conversation is getting really, really, really petty and silly.
Remember when you said that you would stay all day to talk about this?
Okay, I'll stay one more time, but you got to get me some coffee.
Okay, got it. We'll be right back. Coffee coming up.
Wait, that's all it takes to rent Rudy Giuliani? This is an outrage and a sham. Have you no decency? Oh, that's a latte? I'm sticking around. And Giuliani also unveiled what's sure to be an airtight defense for his client.
They're not going to be colluding about Russians, which I'm not even know if that's a crime, colluding about Russians.
I don't even know if that's a crime. You're his lawyer. You're supposed to know what the law is. That's like your doctor going, I don't even know if that's a disease bleeding from your eyeballs. I don't know. Who knows? And he went on, eyeball bleeding. I don't know. And he went on to describe the real crime.
You start analyzing the crime. The hacking is the crime. The hacking is the crime.
That certainly is the original
Well, the
crime.
president didn't hack.
Of course not. That's the original
He didn't pay them for hacking?
Yes. He didn't pay them for hacking. And I hope he's not paying you for lawyering. Besides, hold on a second. How do we know that Donald Trump didn't do the hack? Do we have a description of the hacker?
It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
Okay, so he could have done it. It's possible. And 239. 239.
239
kilos.
Huh?
And it turns out that collusion is not a crime is the song of the summer because we're hearing a lot of it all of a sudden.
I've been sitting here looking in the federal code trying to find collusion as a crime.
It's not.
Collusion is not a crime.
We've discussed this before. Collusion is not a crime.
And collusion is not a crime.
The truth of the matter is collusion is not a crime.
Wow, they are really moving the goalposts on this. First it was Russia didn't interfere in the election. Then it was, okay, they did. But nobody on the Trump team met with them. Then it was, okay, they did. But it was just about adoptions. Then it was, okay, they offered us dirt on Hillary, but there was no collusion. Now we're, no collusion. Collusion is not a crime. What's next? Okay, collusion's a crime, but it's just a little crime. Then it'll be, since when are crimes illegal? If crimes are illegal, take me away. What? Oh, okay. So we knew about the meeting at Trump Tower with Don Jr. and the Russians, and the meeting Cohen claims took place where Don Jr. got his dad's approval for that Russia meeting. But today, Rudy accidentally revealed a third meeting we've never heard about before.
Cohen also now says, because he says too much, that 2 days before, he would participate in a meeting with roughly the same group of people, but not the president, definitely not the president, in which they were talking about the strategy of the meeting with the Russians.
So according to Giuliani, Michael Cohen says that 2 days before the Trump Tower meeting with Russians, there was a strategy meeting, which they probably should have had before they hired Rudy Giuliani, because there's no indication this planning meeting was public knowledge before Giuliani brought it up on air. In other words, surprise. In other words, he's bringing something up just to tell you his client isn't guilty of it. Well, I mean, that body no one's found in the creek? President definitely didn't put it there. He's just giving away damaging information. He's going to be the first lawyer in history to have to treat himself as a hostile witness. Now, Rudy seemed to realize that he had made illegal oops a collusion. So he scurried over to Fox News to try to explain something.
Why are you saying that the president wasn't at the meeting? I understand those two meetings that you just set out there, but that doesn't explain why you're saying he wasn't there. Who asked if he was there? No one asked if he was there.
Cohen is alleging that the meeting took place. We are making it clear that the president was not at that meeting. Never took place. Didn't happen.
So the president was not at the meeting that didn't happen. Which means it happened and he called the meeting. But wait, why are you talking about it?
We heard you say today was that the president was not at that meeting. That actually takes on a question that had not been asked or even suggested. Right. So why did you say that?
Because there are two different meetings. There wasn't another meeting that has been leaked but hasn't been public yet.
And I think I found the leaker.